Hey, Tim Sykes here with a weekend video lesson. There are no days off if you truly want to become a millionaire. And more importantly, for right now, you have roughly 48 hours to take advantage of this Profitly birthday sale where my guides are 30, 40, 50, 60, 70% off, especially my two new guides, which are pre-sale, Trader Checklist Part 2 and Penny Stocking Framework Part 2, both of which will be out in June. But you can pre-order it and save 50%. And then also my birthday sale on Stocks to Trade, 48 hours. These sales are ending. No extensions this time. You either want to save and invest in your education or you don't. Right now, I want to go over this play that I've been making a few $100s on. Nothing huge, you know. This isn't the most volatile play, but I think that this is a good, safe play to teach you, you know, a really useful catalyst on this CDXC where, you know, I've been in a few times dip buying it. This was the big gap up from 2.4 all the way to 3.4 on this news the other day, where if you look at the news, they announced a strategic investment by Li Ka-shing. And if you follow Li Ka-shing, he's one of the richest people in the world. If you Wikipedia him or Google him, he is the richest person in Asia and the 18th richest person in the world. So why is this rich guy investing in this little tiny company? Obviously, he and his partners think that this little company has potential. So this is not a good chart. And I want to show you the year chart. It's terrible. This is a typical penny stock where, you know, it spikes, it drops, it really doesn't do much. And now this little, you know, roughly $1 a share spike, this is all caused by this new rich guy, billionaire investor. So this is a catalyst that has been working pretty much every time the past few months and even the past few years, and to varying degrees. You know, there have been some plays, if you watch my Spikeability guide, where some of these plays have gone up 10 times, literally from $2 to $20 on news of an investment of the billionaire. This one, very, very slow. This one's a little bit bigger of a company. It's already a $100 million company. So even though it's a low price stock, it's not exactly like a low flow, you know, typical penny stock. But we did get a nice spike from 2.5 to 3.4 and it came down. And those of you who've been following my alerts and trades the past few days, you know I was dip buying it in the 280s and a little in the 290s also and selling in the low 3s. Again, nothing huge. You know, I made what, like my last play 10%. So this is a very small trade. I don't want you to think that, oh, a billionaire invested, this stock is definitely going to spike 100, 200, 500%. No. But a billionaire investing in a low price stock is good news. That is a good catalyst. And the way to find it is you look on Stocks to Trade and you look at the big percent gainers. I'm filming this while the market is closed, so there are no big percent gainers. But every single day I'm looking for the big percent gainers. In pre-market, when this spiked from 2.5 to 3.4, I was watching it. But at the same time, I know that I don't want to necessarily chase such a big run up in a $100 million company. And the time to really buy it was on the dips in the 280s. And you know, 280 to 320, best case scenario. So absolute best case scenario, you could have made 15% if you caught the bottom and sold at the top over the past few days. But I locked in, you know, 5, 10% on a few different trades, and that's not the end of the world. But this is a good catalyst, and this is the kind of stock that, you know, is a little different than most penny stocks because you have the world's richest guy in Asia investing a sizable amount of money. And if you want to do some more research, you go to otcmarkets.com and you can see they filed a form. So it's also not just about, you know, when a company raises money. Obviously, the other day I filmed a video how OPTT was doing a toxic financing because they had to spike their stock and then get the financing done at such a massive discount, you know, roughly 50% off the highs. This one, you can see here, if you read the whole SEC filing, $25 million at a purchase price of $260 per share. So some financings can be good. And this stock was trading at $250 right before it was announced. So they're actually buying a ton of shares pretty much at the market. And that should give you confidence. That's how I knew to dip buy it in the 280s because that's not much of a premium over 260. So if the world's richest man in Asia is investing in this company at 260 and it already touched 340, dip buying it in the 280s is pretty good risk reward. You know, at worst, it's going to come down to 260, and at best, you think that it might be able to come back to 340. So if you're buying it at 280, you have 20 cents a share of risk and 60 cents a share of upside, 3-to-1 risk reward. As it turned out, there was no downside after 280, and it didn't get back to 340 yet. I have no current position. I sold, I took profits because, again, this isn't my typical play. This isn't as volatile as I normally like, but it's a good educational example. So sometimes I do trades because I'm like, okay, I want to show you how to make a lot of money. Like, what is a really good pattern? This one, I knew that it wasn't going to be anything huge. You know, if you read my alerts, if you read my commentary on it, you know, I'm specifically saying, you know, I rebought. My goal is to make 10 to 15%. Not a hugely volatile stock, but it looks to have support in the 280s, so limited risk. And that was exactly right. So this one is not necessarily the most volatile. It's not necessarily the absolute best setup, but I also did know that my risk reward was good. The news was good. And, you know, no matter what the overall market is doing, billionaire investor plays can spike for several days and even several weeks. I wouldn't be surprised to see this test 340 next week. And so I might continue to look to dip buy because what it likes to do is uptrend all day and have like these morning panics. You see it had a morning panic once and then a morning panic twice. And I dip bought both of those panics and, you know, again, not a huge play. I want to reinforce that in case you think that this is like the path to getting rich, but dip buying the morning panic on a stock with a good catalyst, with this news, with good risk reward. There's more upside than downside. This is how you structure a trade. And sometimes it's good to trade a not so volatile play just for practice so that you understand the framework that I use on every single trade that I do. Because I don't want you thinking that every trade has to be so quick. These billionaire plays can last several days or several weeks. And so, frankly, you know, you have more time. A lot of you guys have busy schedules. I know a lot of people who are trying to just learn and trying to trade in between their jobs and school. Well, this is the kind of play that if you wait for the right moment, I'm not just saying buy it here right when the billionaire news comes out. The cool thing with penny stocks is that you don't have to be first. In fact, a lot of these plays, if you are first, that's not even a good entry because they'll correct. So I want you getting used to this kind of pattern. I want you getting used to this kind of price action and this time period and this time horizon. So this was a good trade. If you understand the gist of what I'm saying here, leave a comment under this video by saying this was a good trade because I want you to start to recognize what indicators matter to make a good trade. Catalyst, chart, price action, risk reward, patience. Those were the kinds of things that were in play with CDXC here. So anyways, I know it's a Saturday. I probably shouldn't even be making this, but I want to teach you every single day to study just a little bit, not to overwhelm your brain and like study, you know, 10, 15 hours a day and burn out. But if you can study, you know, 10, 15, 30 minutes a day, you'll get better hugely over time and it starts to add up and snowball. So anyways, I hope you have a good weekend and please do take advantage of this Profitly sale and the stocks to trade sale. No extensions this time. I want to be very clear. I have zero patience anymore for people who procrastinate. If you want to save, take advantage of the sales right now. You have roughly 48 hours by the time I post this video, and I will be back tomorrow with another video lesson. Thank you. Have a good weekend.